No.
Pretty good. Here we go. We're live now. And hello, everybody. Microphone's on the background, and I wasn't ready. Good. Yeah, as you just heard Alex say, we are going to talk about the window. So hope everyone's having a good day. It's been a bit of a crazy day. Nothing really happened so far, but lots of possible stuff has kind of nearly happened. But a pretty decent window if you stand back objectively for Leeds and look at this. We've kind of strengthened the areas mostly that we need to strengthen or in some way, shape, or form. And we've added a little bit of upgrading in a couple of parts of the park. Alex, as a whole, firstly, Alex, how you doing?
I'm well. It is. I'm in the upstate New York area of the country. I'm on the East Coast, and I am dying for some sunlight. My God, we've just been gray and gray. It pops out every once in a while, but and the summers are nice. But my dear Lord, we were just talking about Ibiza and LAFC and that rumor, and it'd be nice to be in both those locations right now.
Alex, you're preaching about weather to an Irishman where the rain comes in at this direction every single day. It's always grey and mostly damp. So, we don't get seasons, we get sludge and a light haze. That's the closest we get to seasons. So I'm not a great woman to help. The only time I went to a warm place at this time of the year, last year, myself and my girlfriend went to Florida to Disney World for the first time I've been to Disney World. We went in January, and it was the coldest January on record. So we were in jackets. So went for sun in January and ended up wearing the exact same clothes we'd normally wear when we were home anyway. So yeah.
But you're close to the ocean, right?
I am.
You talk about going on walks with your dogs.
Yeah, I'm close to I live just outside Drogheda, a tiny little village called Duleek, and I'm about a 10-15 minute drive from the east coast of Ireland, so northeast, so north of Dublin. So lovely place. Plenty of nice places. I've just seen Joe jump in here with his usual. Look at this. Look at this carry on. And I want a shout out as well also to Leeds United Ultras as well, another YouTube channel, Leeds United YouTube channel you can check out at your leisure. Let's move on from weather and let's move on from Ireland being miserable all the time and unfortunately upstate New York being a bit crappy as well at the moment. So Michael will be joining us at some point. He's just running a little bit late tonight. So what we're going to do tonight and how we've done this is we did the same thing at the end of the summer window where we just spent the last hour together, kept an eye on Twitter, kept an eye on Sky Sports, and just to see if anything happened. And in the summer, we were lucky enough to get the Willie Gnonto deal done and the bit of saga that went with that. Didn't realize it was going to be as big a deal then as it is now. Willie being an absolute steal of 5 million. But we're going to talk about the window all up first. So we'll start off, Alex, just in general. What's your feeling about the window? Without going into any of the players individually, we'll get to that as we go through this. But how do you feel about the window all up?
If it stays as it is, it's a massive window. I mean, hey, there he is.
Hello.
The Canuck.
See, now I can put fancy brands on the screen. So
don't let me interrupt. Keep going.
You got your ears lowered, my friend.
I did. Yes, significantly.
As they say. No, just general thoughts about the window.
Yeah.
I mean, recent Leeds United January history says we don't do much business in January. So the fact that we got 3 first-team players over the line, I think the 2 outgoings are good. Joffy's going to be getting minutes, and Diego Llorente he's in such poor form. It's ridiculous.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm so glad. And I'm so glad we've done this. And I'm so glad Jose Mourinho's asleep at the wheel. Outstanding bit of business by Leeds. Outstanding bit of business. Sorry, Alex, I cut you off.
He's been gash is the way. I mean, it's the only way to put it. He's just been so poor. And so good business. I mean, good business. And then obviously from American perspective, from just the team's positive, I think it's a good personality to bring in Weston McKennie, and we'll talk about him. And you saw that obviously with a lot of the interaction with Tyler Adams yesterday. So I just think it's going to be good vibes. Good vibes are good to have. Football is not necessarily good to have, but good vibes is good to have. So
I this conversation on Joe's channel last week or week before last. I don't have a problem with vibes football as long as we're winning. If you're losing playing vibes football, then it's a massive problem. But in general, I'm open to vibes as long as we win. Then I would be very happy. But if it's just vibes for vibes'
there
sake,
is a little bit of that like positive energy, like that shirt that reads "Good Vibes Only." You need like the negativity can creep into a locker room so easily, and these guys, I don't think are going to allow a lot of that to creep in. So we'll see.
No, I don't think so. Michael, without going into too much detail, the window as a whole, how are you feeling now about it?
Yeah, I think it was a really good window. You could always quibble a little bit with, the profiles that we brought in. We didn't really bring in a left back, so now we kind of have 2 center backs that cover it. Maybe that's fine for the rest of this season. Like maybe it's good. Maybe it's good enough, and that's where we are right now in terms of finishing the season out. We just need to be good enough to stay up and reassess again in the summer. But honestly, you can't complain about the players we actually did bring in. I mean, I think really spectacular. Ruder looks maybe a bit raw, still very young, obviously a very talented football player, I think. Granted, we've only seen him once against, much lower league opposition, but I think he's got some really good elements there that we can work with. We've strengthened for sure in midfield. That was necessary. Verber looks great so far. So, I think overall it's been really positive. And just to echo what Alex said as well, I mean, the outgoings are good too. I think Joffrey really did need to go out on loan. It's unfortunate that it seems Sunderland's main striker is now injured. So he's going to, be playing up front by himself, perhaps, which isn't necessarily good. I don't think he's like a line leading 9. So maybe the experience he's going to get at Sunderland isn't the ideal experience, but it's still competitive football. I think he's probably going to get a lot of it.
Yeah.
You can't say anything about that is a bad thing. It's all a good thing. The thing I just mentioned is I apparently missed the memo on the black and white tops today.
You're out, dude. You're out. You got to go.
Thanks a lot.
Get out of here. You're out of the club. Got to go.
But I did finally get my signed Phillips up on the wall.
Brilliant. And it looks nice. It looks nice. Looks good.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's nice.
Do you guys know if there's anybody out there that knows the famous, it's like a famous photo or famous meme that's out there of a skeleton sitting in a chair waiting for deadline day transfer? It was Michael Maynard's office, and we could dig it up on Twitter if possible, but there's a famous like waiting for transfers.
Is that you? Really?
That's mine.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
That's his office.
That's class. That's class.
That was actually, I took that picture and tweeted it out when we were waiting for Rafinha to sign, because that was dragging on a little bit and everyone started to get antsy.
Oh, no one does antsy like the Leeds fans. Like, we're great at it. We do. We've had a fantastic window and everyone is losing their marbles now because some third party Leeds Twitter channel said Charlie Creswell to Stoke City confirmed. Everyone lost their marbles. Currently, he's still at Millwall. Yeah. And now the latest one, and we'll deal with this really quickly before we get into anything else. Jean-Claire Todibo is not the one that was at Chelsea. He played for Barcelona for a little bit. He's only 23. This has come up. I don't believe there's anything in this, if I'm being honest. There's a couple of people tweeting about it, but nobody legit. Apparently, Romano said it, and then apparently he didn't say it. So I haven't stuck it in yet. We're keeping an eye on it. But right now, as far as I can see, there's nothing in this just yet. That could change in the next 50 minutes. But right now...
Centre back
from Olympic Nice, 6'3", 23 years of age, has played 36 times for Nice this year. Pretty young. He did play 4 times for Barcelona as well, and he would have played with Firpo. So there's a connection there. Apparently they follow each other on Twitter or something as well.
Is that related to the fact that so where is he now?
He's at Nice right now.
Oh, he's at Nice right now. Okay.
There's no way you're getting that deal done.
No.
Not now. Not if it's only going, I'd say it's growing legs, but there's an hour left in the window. Even with the deal sheets extended by an hour, they still have to get a signature done by midnight. And our medicals tend to take a bit of time.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. He would join the really cool name club. I mean, we have some players with some fantastic names at our club
It's
when you
starting to look like a
factor in
very
all the middle
different team.
names and stuff. Yeah, this is Jean-Claire Dimitri. I imagine it's Roger if he's French.
I was
So
for Roger.
Jean-Claire Dimitri Roger Todibo,
Hmm.
French professional footballer who plays as a center back for League One club Nice. There you go. So
Yeah.
we do have some great names
They do.
in our club.
Just shout this now quick. Rob, thanks very much for the super chat. Glad to see that they didn't sell Jack. Yeah, it's a good move. Do you think that we're expecting the new young defenders to come to the first team pretty quickly? I wouldn't think so. I think he's very much for the under-21s. The under-21s are trying to get promoted, and they've been gutted again this year by the first team during the FA Cup run. I'm calling it a run. We've never got a chance to say it, so I'm calling it a run. It's 2 games. But yeah, I think he's. Yeah, that's what I think about that. So, I don't know if this. I really don't know if this has legs. I don't know anything about it. I'm keeping an eye on it, but as I said, there's a lot of spoofing going on right now. So, we like to wind each other up. Someone's just put a gif of white smoke. You know what? I go through phases on deadline day on Twitter where I love it, I hate it, I despise it, I want to hurt people, and then and then I'm laughing at people. It drags me all over the place. But that's very funny.
Surely we should be saving the white smoke for when the 49ers takeover actually happens, right? Because then it's a change
we
at
know
the
that's
top.
happening now, don't we?
It's a change at the top. That's what the white smoke is needed for.
We've spent 80 million.
Yeah.
I think we can say the 49ers were in.
I would think we could say they're in.
There was a lot of people when I did the interview with Cam Inman, there was a lot of people who said to me when he said the 49ers were 2 feet into this, they weren't dipping their toe, that they meant business. There's a lot of people told me that was BS and absolutely not going to happen. Don't worry. They're not even in yet, and they've just flexed their muscles with 80 million. Now, I know it's spread out over the length of contracts, but it's still an 80 million. They still have to pay that money at some point, and they're on the hook for the future payments anyway. So, I'm very happy with what they're doing so far. If this is a sign of things to come, I think you're going to see some major stuff in the summer as well. But we'll get to that. On the rumors today, before we go into the detail, the bigger stuff, on the rumors today. So this morning, Jack Harrison, the last time we had this conversation on deadline day, we went to bed with Cody Gakpo getting on a plane. We woke up with Gakpo not on the plane and Bamba Dieng signing. Then by lunchtime, Bamba Dieng had changed his mind and was going to Olympic Nice. And then we finished off on this show with Willy Gnonto signing and us being thoroughly underwhelmed by signing Willy Gnonto, who turned out to be an absolute steal. So today's, we woke up with Jack Harrison going to Leicester, definitely happening. That was done. And Nicola Zaniolo coming to Leeds, done and dusted. And again, an absolute Twitter meltdown. You boys were sleeping nicely in your beds when this was going off this morning at Irish time. And now everything seems to have gone away. Jackie looks like he's staying put. He doesn't want to go. And Nicola Zaniolo is currently being touted around to every single club in the Premier League and Serie A right now. I like Zaniolo. I would think it's worth a gamble, but I've never been that hot on Jack Harrison. I've said it publicly. I think he is a big game player with big moments. And I think in the big games, he always steps forward for Leeds and does a great job for Leeds. I just think it's in the other games when you need him to dig us out of trouble, I think he goes missing sometimes. That's my honest feeling to Jack Harrison. Doesn't mean I don't like him. It doesn't mean I don't want him to stay at Leeds. I still think he's an asset to Leeds, especially now in that central role that he seems to be moving into. How would we have felt if Jack had gone? That's Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jack. I think he's one of the promotion heroes, right? So you're always going to have a soft spot for players like that for that reason. I think Jack is sort of final third good decision making away from being a top level winger. But at his age now, he's 26 now, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the decision making thing nailed down, he probably never will. And he does make some daft decisions with the ball. He strikes the ball wonderfully well, as we saw in the last match. I mean, he can really hit them. And some of the athletic performances that he's put in, just in terms of getting to balls you would never expect him to get to, stretching for things. He's always fit. I mean, there are a lot of upsides to Jack Harrison, but he's not. He's in terms of his actual quality. He's pretty average. definitely someone that you could upgrade on.
Yeah.
In terms of skill, in terms of what they bring as an attacking element. But again, you have to weigh that against the fact that he's always available, he's always fit, and even when he's injured, he's able to play through it, and has been doing so this season apparently. So, I think he's a good squad player. I don't think he's necessarily a good, sort of leading, first 11 guy for where we want to be as a team, or where we want to go as a team. If we had traded him, not traded him in the North American trading sense, but if we had sort of sold him out and brought somebody else in, I wouldn't have, flipped the table over or anything. But at the same time, happy to keep him as well. And he does offer a profile, I think, that we don't have elsewhere.
There is this thing, and I said this to somebody else, but there is a thing that Leeds have been guilty of in the last, say, 16 years since we've been out of the Premier League. And that's when we need to strengthen the position, we sell the player we currently have in that position, and then we buy a replacement. It usually happens in that order. And what tends to happen with that is you end up still with one player in that position and not two players in that position. And the biggest one for me was when we decided, and we kept doing it, and the biggest one was for me was get to the Premier League last year, sell Alioski, bring in Firpo. Why not keep Alioski and sign Firpo? Now you have two left backs. We still only have one left back and no left back in the under 21 team. Arguably one left back. So that's the issue for me, and Jack is in that bracket for me as well. Is I wouldn't be giving him to anybody else to make anybody else's team better, because he will improve the teams he goes to, especially the lower half. But I wouldn't be letting him go either, because we need strength and depth, and we need players that can come in. And as I said, for me, Jack Harrison's a big game player. When you're playing the Man Uniteds, when you're playing the Liverpools, when you're playing the Arsenals, they're the games I play Jack in, because Jack really ups his game for those big games. And it's always, I've known a couple of players I played at the past who used to refer to as big game players, and they play cup finals. They might not play in the semis, and they might not play in the quarters, but they play in the final because that was the one they were up for. They're physically and mentally up for it. So, before I get to you, Alex, just a big thank you to Rob again. Rob, stop giving me money. Appreciate it. Thank you. 8 out of 10 would have been good. 10 out of 10 defender. I agree. I 100% agree with you, Alex.
But can I just jump in one quick sec? I just want to touch on something you said, Jer. I'm sorry. Llorente is another example of what you just said.
Yeah.
I said we just got rid of Llorente and replaced him with so now we have Koch as a right center back only, and then maybe Vober fills in, Strouk has done it before. Maybe Ailing drops in, but we don't have anyone else there as an actual regular backup for you. Not that I rated Llorente, and I'm quite glad that he's gone, frankly, but that's another example of just what you're saying. Sorry, Alex.
It also shows you how bad Diego's been that we're willing to kind of like do a square peg round hole.
Don't worry about that tomorrow.
That's it's kind of like we're so nervous about Diego when he comes into the game that you're almost willing to try a Luke Ayling out there, or try moving like I said, square pegs round holes. Or bring up a U21 player who's not necessarily ready, but it's like the bar is so low with Diego at this point. When he came in this entire season, it was the entire season. It was so wild. It's been so wild to me, because I just never have seen a player that out of form as he was. So, best of luck to him at Roma, and hopefully he regains his form under Mourinho in a much easier league. Yeah, hopefully he smashes it.
Before you get to Jack, the thing about Llorente for me is, and I am being tongue in cheek, waving goodbye. I mean, I don't wish any bad thing on the player. I think he's a smashing fella. He's conducted himself very professionally at Leeds. He's worked hard. He's taken being on the bench well. He's a professional. He's done all that stuff well. I
had some great moments.
Had some good moments, especially the first season, especially when there was no fans in the stadium, there was no pressure. Definitely the first season, he had a fantastic time. As his first goal was against Liverpool. Can you imagine what that would have been like? Leeds' first season in the Premier League, new signing from centre half, scores a header from a corner, gets a score. He scored from a corner. The place would have gone nuts. He never got to experience that. I do feel sorry for Llorente at times, because I think there's an audible change in the atmosphere of the ground when he walks onto the pitch, and it's the Tyler Roberts, stick. It's the what's the word I'm looking for here? The scapegoat. Yeah. So when they come on the pitch, you're like, oh, there's a groan goes around the ground of, oh, come on. And he has to feel that, and that has to affect your game. So in a lot of ways, I feel really sorry for Llorente that he had to absorb that and still try and play. And then you look at the comments he made on Twitter when he signed for Roma, and he thanked the Leeds fans, and he said he watched Leeds from afar and he'd celebrate Leeds. Doesn't have to do that. He's got a lot of abuse today on Twitter, and he gets a lot of abuse on Twitter permanently. Doesn't have to do that, but it shows a strong character of a guy and a very good person to be able to step above that and actually put out nice comments. So I do wish him well. I think he'll do well in Serie A. It's a slower league. It's not as technical. I think he'll do really well over there.
And it's a very defensive system, right? With Mourinho, right?
Super defensive. 3 center halves usually.
Lots of cover.
Oh, come here. We have said I'd have no issue with Diego Llorente playing in a 3 center half because there's cover. And that's exactly what he's going to do at Roma. He's going to go in and play with 3 center halves. Alex, Jack Harrison, where's your head at with Jack?
A lot of different thoughts. I mean, I reflect back on Jack. Jack's just he's a good story. I mean, he came from the MLS, and then he's just a good player to watch. The fact that he grinded and he left England and he went to the States, and then he came back to England and he came to the championship, and he's just you got a soft spot for him. Again, we mentioned his availability. However, and I think we need to, some of the sale portion of it, I think we need to stop thinking as a small squad mentality where people would be okay with just kind of selling him. But I started to pause at $40 million. $40 million? What? Yeah. Someone's willing to buy him for $40 million, $30 million? Okay. I think we need to listen to those offers and maybe take it and flip it for some new players in the summer, or maybe hopefully this window. But I think I'm glad that he's not being sold. I think he's an excellent depth piece. I mentioned Aaronson's out of form. If Aaronson's out of form, then I think Harrison being a midfielder, being that 10-ish player, is going to be really good. You know, I rewatched the Brentford game, and Jack is he had a couple shots on goal, but they're right at the goalie. That's right. I mean, that is Jack Harrison. Obviously against in the cup game, he had an absolute screamer and it was in the corner. He can offer that, but his shooting is not precise. No. And, but there's times where he does some things great, but then he gets lost in other games. So he's an excellent depth piece. And I think defensively, he doesn't necessarily put a lot of a foot wrong in that way. And his pressing's good. So, he shows up in ways that I think are not necessarily on the stat sheet. So I like that he's going to be here for the rest of the season. And, again, depth, things can become threadbare very quickly. So I'm glad he's kind of an insurance. Yeah. He's kind of that safety net that we need.
Yeah. Steve Brown there, apparently they want Man City have a £5 million sell-on clause. I saw that earlier on. That will explain why Leeds are looking for 35 million, not 30 million. I think they'd accept 30 million, but they'll take 30 from that. Alex, I agree with you, but and you can apply that pretty much to any major player around. Everyone has a price. There is a price that you put on a player at some point where a club will go, can't say no. Look at Chelsea this year with the spending they're doing, and Todd Bowley's exact words of, whatever anybody else bid for players we want, we will blow them out of the water. I mean, he's gone 40 million over marked value on some players. He's outbid Arsenal by 40 million for Mudryk. He only outbid them by 10. He's gone by 40. So if you're a receiving club and someone, adds 40 million onto what you think your player is worth, you're like, got to take it. You can't say no to that. It's a business still, and we're not all massive clubs. So in terms of revenue, so yeah, I get it. I understand it. But the thing to me this morning was I could only see Zaniolo coming in if somebody left. And the only one I could see leaving was going to be Harrison, because he's the only one that really has any interest in right now. So it would have been great to keep Jackie and sign Zaniolo, but that's not going to happen. My one is Sasa Lukic. I don't know how he's gone to Fulham for £8 million, but that is an absolute steal for a Rolls Royce for player. That quote will come back to haunt me. I know it will. That'll be, he'll fall over the ball next week and someone will say, you called him a Rolls Royce. He's more of a banger.
The thing about Jack too is his contract, right? So if we're going to get an offer like 35 or 40 million now, the other reason why you would want to take it now is because he's only got a year left in the summer. Yeah. So immediately, whatever we could get now is probably in half in the summer. So if we're trying to sell him in the summer, it's 15 to 20 probably at best. It's not much was what we paid for him, right? So
the rumor mill out there on Twitter was that he rejected the deal.
Yeah.
Is that now? What do you think about that? What do you think about his reasoning? And and stuff like that?
I think he's very settled in Leeds. He's been there for a while now. His family is there. His friends are there. He looks quite happy. Jack just strikes me as a very easygoing fella. So he kind of looks. Leeds is not like Leeds is a great place to live. I mean, you think all the players that come into Leeds and they love them there. Leeds is a cracking city, and if you want the countryside and the views and the touristy stuff, there's tons of that on the outskirts.
Which he has, because I think he lives in York.
Yeah, York's beautiful. York's
I've been to York a couple times. I love York. It's one of my favorite places.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why someone would go. I mean, think about it as a footballer. Do you want to keep uprooting and moving around all the time? If you can stay where you are, would you stay where you are? He's on good money at Leeds, and he'd be on better money if he gets his contract. He's only 26, so it's not going to be a last contract situation. He's going to want more money. If you look at it, the issue with me of this is after the World Cup break, Jack Harrison they were over in Spain. And the conversation then was Jack Harrison's agent was going to Spain, and Jack Harrison confirmed that himself to meet Leeds to talk about a contract. And then no contract was signed. And then you come to a transfer window. You're not signing players on contracts towards the back end of a transfer window because you're working on signing players. The legal stuff that you need to renew a contract, it just gets in the way. So you leave it till after the window. But you'd want to see Leeds making a move early February to lock Jack Harrison down into a contract. Otherwise, you are getting to that point at the end of the season where like, 12 months left, we're going to have to do something here. Yeah. And then you're in a panic buy situation, a panic sell situation. So, yeah, lock him down, give him 3 years. He's a good player. He's good for the club. As I said, he has big game moments, and there he would be good for them always. And he's only 26. He's still got time. And what I've seen of him, if he can let the ball go a fraction earlier or 2 touches earlier in the number 10 role, he will be exceptional in that role. But he has to release the ball a bit quicker for me. That's the only thing I'd say on him. Yeah. So next one to talk about, Charlie Cresswell. Is he going to go? Is he going to stay? What do you think, Alex?
Well, I like Charlie, but I don't know too much about him. I admittedly have not been watching the Millwall games, and I've just caught the highlights early on. I know he's struggled there. This is a player, again, this is the Mill, but apparently has been looked at from other bigger clubs. I think he does have big potential. I like youth at the center back position just because I think we need quicker feet at the center back position. And I don't know how quick Charlie is, but I think would be one of the faster ones, at least on our team. So I like him for potential. I think he needs to continue, although I'm also a big fan of him continuing to be loaned out in the championship, both him and Joffe, to develop there, and maybe Cody Drama. And then in a year or two's time, we go, wow, look at these ballers, look at these players that we got on the team, and they developed in the championship.
Yeah, Cody Drama played 70 minutes tonight for Luton Town. He apparently played quite well, so we shouldn't have let him go out on loan. We should get him back immediately, and Jesse Marsh is a fool for never playing him. That took all of 70 minutes for that lot to start that one. Let's bring back Charlie Taylor, Johnny Howson, and Jermaine Beckford while we're at it. These players need to go on loan and get experience. Cody Drama has played a couple of games in the Premier League, and he didn't look great, and Martinelli made a show of him last year. So, translate that for... made a show. So does that translate to America if I say somebody made a show of someone? No. Like a fool.
I don't know about America, but I get it.
Makes a fool out of you. Yeah, like a show.
Yeah.
So Martinelli made a show of him last year, and you're like, he needs to learn, he needs to get better. He was okay in the under-21s. The fact that he's playing for Luton Town, not Dortmund, not Newcastle, and he's playing against Cardiff, who, as we know when we played our first team, are dirt. He should have had a good game against them. If he didn't have a good game against them, I'd be seriously, seriously concerned about his future. So he should be going down there and smashing it every single week. So congratulations to Cody, but I agree with the lads. I think is another player who I would keep going out on loan until he's 100% ready for Premier League, but there's definitely talent there. Michael, Charlie Cresswell, what do you think of the situation? Just a bit of context. Anyone who's wondering how he's getting on at Millwall, I spoke with a couple of Millwall fans, and a couple have actually reached out about a couple of the videos that we've done. And they've said he's not had a great time down there. He's been poor at times, and he's cost them. He's made big mistakes that have cost him goals, and that's part of the reason he's been out of the team as well. So the highlight reel is great, but then if you look at Diego Llorente's highlight reel going to Roma, that looked pretty sweet as well. We all know the reality of what the other side of that looks like. So I would speak to some Millwall fans, and I would go and look at Millwall games in full before I make a decision. But Charlie is supposed to make mistakes at these clubs. That is the entire reason you send them out on loan, to get them out of a system, to learn from them, and to do it somewhere else and not on your doorstep. So anyway, Michael, sorry, what do you think of the situation with Charlie?
Well, it seems like we've been trying to shop him around. I don't know if that's true, but like the way that the rumors are flying around about him, it almost has this feel of like we've been shopping him around. Which, if true, means that we want to get rid of him, and I don't know quite why that would be. Again, it's a situation where if we ended up selling him, he's a prospect at this point, right? We don't know how prospects are going to turn out. There doesn't really seem to be any reason to sell him right now. Like there can't be a financial reason for it unless someone's offering stupid money. That's definitely not going to happen, particularly given how it's going right now at Millwall. So I think he's got some time left on his deal. So why would we not just keep him, let him see out the season at Millwall, even if it's not going very well? I mean, that sort of pressure situation can be a good learning opportunity as well. By all accounts, he appears to be a pretty level-headed, confident young man who, will probably take it on the chin and be able to move on. Why would we not keep him and then maybe try to loan him out again next season? See how it goes with maybe a different environment, under a different coach, under a different system, whatever. And if it doesn't work out then maybe you look at shuffling him on. But he's young. He's only 20, right? 20, maybe 20 or 21. I think he's 20.
20, yeah, 20. I think he's 21. No, he's not. He's 20 because
he's 20.
He's 20. He's 20.
I mean, that's young for a defender. Well, you're shaking your head at me or the comment?
The comments.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
I don't
think I didn't get to read the comment. I just looked up and saw a head shaking. Yeah,
no, I don't think
he's young enough, right? I think it makes sense. It would make more sense to keep him on contract, loan him out again, see how it goes, and move him on in the future if it's not going to work. But we also don't know what his opinion of this is. Maybe he wants to move on somewhere permanently. Maybe he wants to get on with his life. Maybe he's down there in Millwall talking to Jamie Shackleton and saying, okay, I can see how it goes if you stay maybe a year or two too long and you start just spending all your time in the 23s and getting cameo appearances here and there and your career kind of stutters. So we don't know how he feels about it. That may be a reason for shopping him around because honestly, from a club perspective, I don't see how it makes any sense to be shopping him around right now.
No, and just to clarify this comment, Richard, Cresswell was an England under-21 captain. He was, but remember, he's playing against people of the same age and the same level. So it's comparative to its level. When you take an under-21 player, it's like saying this kid's the best 15-year-old of the 15-year-olds, but then you put him into play with the under-20 side and he gets mauled because it's a different game, it's a different level. There's more experience, more physicality, more speed. So it takes time to adapt. That's why these players need to go out on loan. That's why we got Ben White. We wouldn't have got Ben White. He was at Newport County on loan, then he was at us. So they went all the way down the leagues, then to us, and then we saw what happened with Ben. So they need to go and get this experience. Bit of news just to bring people up to date on. According to Phil Hay, Jack Harrison stays put. So Jack is not leaving Leeds in this window anyway. So that's that bit out of the way. We've got a half an hour, 25 minutes left of the window. Looks like we're done. Looks like Leeds are done. There's nothing else about this guy. But I wanted to kind of go through and get your take on the actual deals that we brought in. So, and the guys that have gone out and how you feel about them as well. So I'm going to try and share my screen here to get rid of that banner. 2 seconds. Bear with me. Your call is important to me. There we go. And share. Here we go. So I'm looking at our outgoings and see how we feel about this. We start off Max Dean to MK Don's permanent move, rejoining Jacko, who got a lot of good joy out of him from the under 23s and younger age groups as well. Alex, good move for him. Happy enough with that one?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that might be his level at this point.
Yeah. Michael, same as Max will be a quick one to get through.
Same. I really enjoyed watching him play, for our U21s, U23s, as it used to be. He's an animal out there, kind of player that you love watching, an Alan Smith type guy. Loves to get involved, put it that way. But there's too many players in front of him, and you don't. Even if he ends up being a Premier League player at some point, which I don't know if he will or not. But even if he does, he certainly isn't going to do it with us with a number of players in front of him right now. It's a good move for everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot about Max Dean that I like. He's a very old school striker. He finds these lovely pockets of space on the edge of the box or just in behind or tight areas. He actually does quite well. Ironically, considering how Leeds are playing, he might actually be a really good striker for the first team because that style of play kind of suits him a bit.
Yeah.
I think you'll see Max Dean come back up the divisions again. I don't think Max Dean's gone away forever. I think he's a fantastic finisher. Above anything else, he's a sniper. He can really pick out a goal. Not a player for outside the box, and maybe that's why Leeds looked at moving him on. Maybe the pressing and the kind of work that Leeds want to do off the ball isn't really in his locker. But if you put the ball in around the edge of the box, he's a good shoe and to get a goal for you as well. Very, very nippy around those areas. So I'll just crack this one up real quick. Todibo, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think it could be wrong, but I think it's nothing. We'll keep an eye on it.
Other than Romano saying it on his live stream a little while ago.
Yeah, I don't even know if he did though. Somebody said
I've seen tweets that he did, but I was on his live stream. So
yeah. So I don't know. We have to wait and see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see how that one goes. Next one's a big one. Joffy. I'm going reverse. So Michael, Joffy heading off to Sunderland, previous home of his mate Sam Greenwood.
Yeah, really happy that he's gone to get some experience, some first team experience. I mean, I know he was getting some with us, but obviously it's been very limited this season compared to the end of last season. He's looked a little out of sorts. I think it's a great move for him to go and get some. As I said earlier on in the stream, I think Sunderland just lost their main striker. I do kind of like Joffy as a second striker more than the sort of line leading guy. And I wonder if that's maybe not the most ideal situation now. Like, it would have been better if he was playing with somebody else up there. But if he's got to be the guy, then I think there's some benefit to that kind of experience too. So good move overall, and I'm happy that he's off to get some, because I think he's a good talent, and I think once he finds exactly what his role is, I think he'll do well.
Yeah,
and glad it's just alone. He'll be coming back, right? Because I do think he's got a future with us.
Leeds have said that he's a big part of their future plans.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, I think it's a great move. Big club. And this is the first real run of games that he'll be starting since the PL2 championships 2-3 seasons back. So he needs a run of games starting. He was coming in at minute 85, minute 80. Yeah. It was just, that's not a way to really kind of get into any kind of rhythm. So this is great. I think it's a massive few months for him as well in his career. I think I'm hopeful that he kicks on.
Joffy's cup tied, lads. He played against Cardiff, so he can't play against us. Just for the comments. Yeah, that keeps coming up. People keep asking, is Joffy going to score against us? He's cup tied. He can't, and I'm pretty sure Leeds will have a clause in the contract that he can't play against his parent club. Which you're not allowed to do that anyway because of gambling and betting and stuff. So
something also, they're not far off. They're not far off the playoffs.
They're pushing.
Right. So
it's a better move than going to. I know Wigan's his home club and going back there where he knew people, but Wigan are really struggling to survive. So he'd be coming out of a relegation battle with Leeds and going into a relegation battle with Wigan. Yeah, whereas there's maybe a little bit less pressure to go in and enjoy your football with Sunderland, who are trying to push to do something and achieve something.
Yeah, there's got to be some good feeling around that club right now with that stuff, with that going on.
Trying to get back promotions as well. It's happened before. Sunderland's a big club. It should never be down where it was. This is the one that pulls on all the heartstrings. Matthias Klick to DC United, and finally got to say goodbye properly, which I'm glad the club did. It was a shame they had to be surprised that he was arriving at the ground to get it done, but at least it got done. Alex, thoughts on Klicky?
I think it was time. I think you said that, and I think it was a really great little phrase. If it's not time, it's very close to the time. And I think he's going to be incredible in the MLS. He just, for me, lost a step, and he can still pick out a pass. I think his shot is a little slower than it used to be as well. So I think it's time, and I wish him the best. I know that he's going to play Toronto FC, and I think Michael's going to go see him. So yeah, best of luck to Klicky.
Planning on it.
Good. Get your new Klicky shirt. Get it sorted. Teach them how to sing a song.
I gotta get this off my chest. MLS kits are like $110,
and they're the same jersey. Every team is the exact same jersey.
And so what I did was I went around to all the a lot of the Prim clubs and the MLS. MLS is consistently the same price across the board, but the Prim, we are one of the cheapest kits in the I think maybe the cheapest, most affordable kit, at least from an American perspective, in the Premier League. Arsenal kits at like $100, at least here in America.
Yeah, it's about
United, etc.
75, 80 euro. Yeah, about that. They're way too expensive. I mean, they're plastic anyway. They're recycled plastic. It's the price are crazy.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm getting old. How do you know? How do you know you're? Tell me you're old without saying you're old. Price of stuff is too expensive now. Sorry, Alex, I cut you off again. Sorry, I keep doing this. I'm giddy.
No, you're good. I'll pass to Michael. What are your thoughts?
Hot tag.
Yeah, I was sad to see Click go. I thought it wasn't. I thought it didn't work out for him this season the way that I think everyone had hoped that it would. It certainly seemed to me like he stayed beyond the summer, because there's a lot of rumbling about him leaving in the summer. I think he stayed because he appeared to have been made some promises about game time that never came. When he did come on for us, and I want to turn this into a Click fest, so we covered all this previously, but when he did come on, I thought that he did a good job for us still. Yeah, he wasn't going to be a regular starter anymore. I understand that. It would have been nice to see him get a few starts. I think he's going to smash it in the MLS. It's obviously a very high quality player. I thought it was a pretty big loss to say that we're losing a pretty important profile of player, but with McKennie coming in, I think it's well covered and frankly upgraded, which is not to say anything against Click, but I mean Weston McKennie is an upgrade on a lot of players, so very, very good quality guy coming in.
McKennie.
So I don't think there'll be a big loss, at least in terms of our ability on the pitch.
No, but I think it was important that we got a player that was an upgrade, because we all said it last time we spoke about this. We were a little bit light still, losing midfielder. In fact, bringing McKennie gives you options. McKennie can play right back, defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder, box to box, can play wide, can play central. Clicky was pretty much an out and out 10, really, if you want to get the best out of him. So, couple of little things just in the chat. I'm going to grab it. Any news on Calvin? It was nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was
a nonsense.
It was a nonsense thing. Yeah, absolutely nonsense thing. Where am I streaming from? The front bedroom of my house, which is my office. Would you take Calvin back on loan? Yeah, of course you would. I don't know where he fits, but yeah, absolutely. You would never say no to a good player coming back to you. Officially old. Yep. Calvin doesn't suit our system. Even if he didn't, you'd still bring him back in. He's a good player. Yeah, I wouldn't say that to Calvin. You're saying?
Coverage. Just if you had someone like Calvin in, he can do a job. So
yeah, you can rest players. You can rotate your systems. You can change your systems. There's loads of things you could do with them. So yeah, absolutely. You'd always say yeah. Right then. So with the man we were just talking about, we already talked about Cody Drama, so we're going to move on from him. I think it's a good move from him. He's done well. We're all in agreement on that.
Good move.
Yeah. We're never allowed to criticize Victor Orta ever again, ever. As we move on to talk about I'm giving him an awful hard time and I shouldn't. Move on to talk about Diego Llorente. I'm happy because my anxiety will be gone. I'm pleased for him as well that he gets to go somewhere else. But I will have a much more relaxed Saturday and Sunday afternoon when Leeds are playing. Alex, Diego Llorente to AS Roma. The deal is believed to be €500,000 or 400,000-ish pounds up front, and then a recouping of the entire 18 million as an option at the end of it, should certain criteria be met. Phil Hay did say it was an obligation. It's now an option, not an obligation. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, man, good. Change the scenery. You need it. He needed it. We needed it. And I don't want to be harsh because he is a good person. I remember there was like a clip of him when he was injured. He was watching a winning goal going for a tied goal going for Leeds. Obviously, he's a professional, so I do appreciate that, and he had some great moments as we said before. But this is needed, and best of luck to him. We'll see what happens at Roma.
Yeah,
Michael.
I agree. I don't want to be harsh. I think he's got enough of a kicking overall in the last few years that he's been here.
Last 5 minutes.
No, not even that. I think we've been fair. Look, obviously there's some things that have gone wrong. I think his first season when he was actually able to play, he did pretty well. Obviously, he had a lot of injury issues that first season as well. So it's never really kicked kicked
Never
on for
clicked.
him with us. Despite there was some promising moments and some periods of time early on where it looked like it could be a good thing, it definitely hasn't turned out that way. And I'm happy for him to move on. Also, with like you guys, not least because I think it's good for him to be able to move on and start fresh. And I felt similarly, like when Tyler Roberts went out on loan, it's like good, because you need a chance to get away from this if it's not working out and if people are on your back all the time. So it's good. Now, in terms of the option, no one has actually said what any of the sort of contract details are there. Is it just a straight option? Are there certain things that could be met to turn an option into an obligation? Like apparently what we have with McKennie, allegedly, if he makes 10 appearances or whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's actually true or if that's just rumor, but if things like that are in the deal, then you would hope that those things get ticked and that it turns into a permanent move. Other than that, I can just say I hope he goes and smashes it, and that they either A, want to keep him, or B, it's easy to move him on to somebody else who gets interested because he's done well enough for that to happen. I think that would be the best outcome. If at the end of the day he ends up coming back, he's got a contract. We'll just have to deal with it at that point.
Very clever bit of business by Victor Orta again. Get him on a contract because they said that they reckon that the price of centre backs is going to increase because there's less of the good ones around than there used to be, so they're worth more now. Lock them down because to answer a couple of questions, what did Roma see in him that we didn't? They saw exactly what we saw in him when we bought him for 18 million. They saw a Spanish international, good lower upper mid half table centre back who was good with the ball at his feet. His first season with Leeds, he was excellent. I wouldn't criticize him at all. I thought he was our best centre back the first year he was here. It's just gone off the boil completely for him, and that happens sometimes with players. Sometimes just, I keep saying this. I've mates that are Manchester United fans. We talk about football and we try and be objective. We try not to abuse each other, but we talk objectively about it. And I said to one of them at the weekend, there's so many really good players have gone to Manchester United and just crumbled under the weight of that jersey. And it's the same at Leeds. Leeds jersey and playing in Ellen Road is a heavy shirt, and that crowd is a demanding crowd. If you're anyway fragile or if you're having any kind of a bad time, it's not a place that lifts you. It's a place that can crush you. Either, as we've said before, it makes a diamond out of you, or you just crumble into nothing. So, that's what I think what's just happened to him. The pressure that's in that ground. And then last year wasn't a good year for anybody, so it's a lot of pressure for the guy to have. So,
I would say we misused him a little bit too, right? Because even at his previous club, everyone knew you can't put him in that left center back role. He just can't do it. And we've repeatedly put it. I mean, mostly he's been on the right, but there are times where he's been on the left, and it's shown like it is really bad, and it just crushed him.
Yep.
So I think there's a little bit of blame that goes to the management as well for playing him in a position that his whole career has shown he just can't do.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to that point on the left back and left centre back and right centre back. I'll try and remember that. I probably won't, but just real quick, has Roberts improved? No. He scored 3 goals and he's been injured most of the season. So pretty much exactly what we get from Tyler Roberts when I can't believe how young he still is. I thought he was like 25, 26 at this stage. Probably he's only like 22, 23 still.
Yeah.
He's very young, but Tyler, I don't see any way back for Tyler. The Leeds team is, even in the last 6 months, the players have come in. That's a bigger step forward and a bigger gap. I hope Diego Llorente, I hope it works out for him as a footballer and as a person. I hope it works out for him. I'd like to see him get back in the Spanish squad because he was good for Spain as well. I stuck him in the middle by accident. He wasn't supposed to be there. Hang on, because you're not happening now, so you're not an outgoing either. There we go. That's him gone. Sorry. Romano, by the way, just on his podcast, if anyone thinks YouTubers stuff might be a bit dull and boring at times, Romano's doing the weirdest live stream I've ever seen. There's 3 lads who are miles away from a camera sitting on sofas. He won't look up from his phone, and he just keeps giving people yes and no answers. It's dreadful. This is outstanding. He was asked about Todibo to Leeds, and he said nothing. That's that. Done.
There you go.
So he's gone. He was on that slide because I put him there as a holder to put on a different slide, and then I forgot to take him off. So that's why he was there. This one's a late one as well, not confirmed. I put it on because it may happen, it may not. Mateus Boguts to LAFC. This is depending on a lot of stuff moving in the next. I don't know when the MLS window closes, and there could be a situation where he could be released. He's out of contract at the end of the year anyway at Leeds. UD Ibiza will have to agree to cancel the loan because there isn't a clause, a recall clause in it. If they cancel the loan, Leeds will sell Mateus Boguts to LAFC. It might happen, but it could be one of these ones where he gets recalled, they cancel his contract, and he goes as a free agent next week or the week after. That can possibly happen as well. Yeah. A kid that I feel really sorry about when he first came into Leeds, he went on the tour of Australia, the first tour of Australia. I thought this was a replacement for Pablo Hernandez in 5-6 years' time. He looked so good.
Yeah, he did.
And he's had 2 cruciate knee ligament injuries. He's had a horrible run of bad luck. But look, he's just started to get back into the Ibiza first team, and I think he's already scored a goal. It took him half the season to get him. Similar situation to Ian Paveda at Blackpool. It just took him a while to get over his injury and get back into the team, but he's starting to come good, but looks like he could be on his way out of Leeds permanently. I did stick him in there because it looked at one point tonight like it was actually going to happen, so I can bypass that and we can get to the incomings, who are all slightly punched to the left because about 5 minutes before we went live, there was a possibility of another lad just sliding in there who was on the other slide, and that's not happening now. So I was trying to get Todibo in there as well. So if it looks a bit off, that's why. Let's start. Max Verber is the pronunciation. We've been told Verber is the pronunciation of the player. Max Verber to Leeds. Alex, thoughts on this one and what you've seen so far of him?
I've liked him. He's he understands the system. He is a captain. He is able to, communicate the process. He has extreme accountability, which are the things I appreciate. I think he's conceded 1 goal and since his time here. So I am enjoying Mr. Verber. And I think this has been an excellent signing. It was early, too. You love to see business done early in the window. So this was kind of even done right, I think, the first couple of days. So kudos. Excellent signing and a needed defensive piece that is needed. So he'll be getting some minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's been absolutely smashing it. I think he looks like a leader. He talks a lot. I think Robin Koch has done well beside him because they both speak German as well, so they don't have to translate that language in their head. It's instant. Yeah. They can just speak to their native tongue as well, which work. I know he's Austrian, but you know what I mean. I'm just going to clarify something. Some people think that there's 80 minutes left of the transfer window. I'm pretty sure the transfer window in the UK is closing at 11 p.m. tonight, and not
6 minutes.
6 minutes left, not 80.
Yeah.
6 minutes. Yeah. So no, it just. Some people are in for a horrible disappointment in about 6 minutes time. They see.
Pretty sure it goes at 11. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much at 11, and then there's the extra hour till midnight for the deal sheet that it runs over. Yeah.
Deal sheets.
Yeah. Verber looks great. The only issue that we have with Verber now is he looks really good at centre back, which means we don't have a left back still.
Left back, yeah.
But
that was my concern when we first got him too. But I mean, not concerned, but I said I hope we're doing that and a left back because. I remember I raised this with you guys before. Maybe it was on the American Leeds podcast. I said, like, who's going to be where now? Because we still don't actually have a left back. We have 2 center backs who can cover at left back.
Yeah. And there's a little bit in me with if he's playing left center back and it's either Cooper playing right center back or Koch playing right center back or Strauch even, and or Strauch playing left back. I kind of feel more comfortable with Strauch as a left back with Verber behind him because I've seen even Verber look more comfortable with Verber behind him. So people are saying pop up Kai Wagner. It didn't happen. He's out of contract, so it could still happen. Although we've not been linked to him, that could be something that's done the next couple of days. That might take a bit longer. Although Stuttgart were looking at taking him on at one point this week as well, so he is expected to go to Europe. But there was an option in Philadelphia Union's contract and mustn't have been taken up if he's looking at moving to Europe. So there's a possibility of that one if they haven't extended the deal, he could be out of contract. So that could be a nippy little free transfer. Should have popped up. Yeah, the left back situation. It's a strange one. Leo Hjelda's doing quite well at Rotherham, which means we should recall him immediately and put him straight in at left back if we go off Twitter logic. But he's doing great at Rotherham. I think he's going to be a cracking player as well. So let him have his time as well.
Where's he playing there? Is he playing left back there? Or
left back, yeah. Assisted his debut and had an absolute cracker of a game bombing up and down the wing. He looked great. He looked really good. So he's going to be a great player. I said this before. My best mate Paul is a big Celtic fan, and when we signed him in Celtic for $3 million, I said I can't believe Celtic are letting youth players with potential go so easily. And he said he's always injured. That's the problem when he was always injured. He seems to have gotten over his injury problems now, which is great. So long may that continue because we'll get a cracking player out of him.
Yep.
Jorginho Ruter or Jorginho on his shirt. Michael, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm excited by him. We've only seen him in one situation, which is not really representative of the sort of the week in, week out. Given it was a cup match, to lower league opposition, but he looks like he's going to be a phenomenal player. Really, good with the ball at his feet. Very powerful runner. We know from his statistics that he's really an elite dribbler of the ball, and obviously you can see why. I mean, he can do it at pace, and the ball sticks to his feet. He picks really good paths to run as well. Still, I'm sure, given his age and everything, and certainly looked to be a little bit raw, probably should have had a pass to him for a goal during the cup match, which means he's getting in the right positions, even if his teammates don't notice. So that's a good thing. I'm excited. I know there's always going to be some skepticism around spending that much money on sort of an unproven, untested player. But I don't think that we spend that kind of money on him without a pretty good idea that this guy's going to be mustard. So I'm happy about it. I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to see what he can do.
Before I get to Alex, folks, let me know in chat out of 10 how you feel about the window. Be nice to see what everyone thinks about the window. So just out of 10, what would you rate the window? Alex, Jorginho Ruter.
I think he's got the makings, and I felt like that in the first time that I'm seeing him in a Leeds shirt. Obviously, 2-footed, quick, good football brain on him. He's getting in. He's got good movements. He's getting in good positions. So, yeah, I mean, my punchline is he's got the makings. He's got the tools. And it's up to the coaching staff and him and everybody on his team to put it all together. But I like what I see, and very optimistic and bullish on this player to lead the line and get goals. I like that he's just kind of soft-spoken, like the personality too, as well. Seems like a good personality to bring in.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I've seen this name pop up a couple of times. I wanted to grab it real quick. Enzo Francescoli, if that is your real name, fantastic. If it is not your real name, I hope it's who I think it is. My favorite player growing up as a kid was Enzo Francescoli, who played for River Plate and Real Madrid, Uruguayan player nicknamed the Prince. And my dad showed me a video of him when I was a kid in the 1980 World Cup, 82 World Cup, and fell in love with this guy as a footballer. Outstanding. So if that's where you got the name from, it's super niche because there's very few people that know or talk about Enzo Francescoli. Sorry, I digress, but I've seen his name pop up a couple of times over the last couple of days, and I wanted to ask where it came from if it wasn't his real name. I from what we've seen from Ruter so far, it's not his real name, Jay, but he was ACS. I love that. Outstanding. There's a sign. If ever there was a sign, something good's going to happen. Ruter's been excellent. I know it's Accrington Stanley and it's League One and temper expectations and all of that. But again, to the point that the lads have already made, he made the right runs. He got in the right spaces. He did the right things. He kept it simple. And the amount of running back that he did to cover on counterattacks because he has the legs. There's an unselfishness there. I love that. I like to see players put the work in and work back to try and help their teammates when we're out of positions. So just brilliant. As long as we get behind them, as long as we don't throw the towel in after a couple of bad performances like we are with Brendan Aronson at the moment, everyone's decided to abandon the fantastic Brendan Aronson start to the season over a couple of bad games. So get behind these kids. They're kids. They're so young. This is an exciting young Leeds team. This is the most excited I've been about a young Leeds side since O'Leary's team. And I my late teens when that was starting to happen.
Which was a vibes team and nobody complained about it.
Nobody
complained about that being a vibes team. Everyone was happy. Everyone was excited until it fell apart. But I don't think that's going to happen this time around. So
we made Michael Dewberry look like a Premier League centre back for a long time. And I remember having conversations with people about how awful I thought Michael Dewberry was as a centre back and how much of a liability he was. But we still finished second in the Premier League at a time. We nearly nearly qualified for the final of the Champions League against Valencia. Just missed out before it all fell apart. But yeah, that was a vibes team as well. This is the thing. I keep saying it. If you're winning games, vibes football is great to watch. It's great to watch. There's an element of vibes football about Bielsa's stuff in the championship. The last couple of games in the championship was very much go and play football, express yourselves, and enjoy the game, and you could see that. So yeah, I have no issue with that. This is the one that I'm delighted we got done, because it's just a step up in quality of player. Yeah. It's not. I know he's young, but he's got to a Champions League final with Schalke. He's played Champions League football consistently. He's with Juventus. He's played in Serie A at a high level and won leagues and cups over there. Weston McKennie. Again, it's a 1.2 million loan fee up front, and then 30. Actually, sorry, let me get it right. Weston McKennie is, it'll work out somewhere between 35 to 40 million with add-ons. I think he's like 4 million player bonuses. There's a 1.2 million plus 33. Yeah. It'll rack up. Alex, how do you feel about Weston McKennie? A fellow compatriot. Where's your heart at and your head at with this?
It's massive. I mean, I was excited about it. I almost thought it wasn't gonna happen, and then it finally it happened, and it's been released, and you can see the video out there, and I think he's going to be an excellent signing. I think he's going to be an excellent personality to the locker room. Now, I think, is he a clicky replacement? Yes and no. Okay. Yes, he plays a midfield or an attacking midfield role. He is excellent in the air. I think you saw that on a lot of the highlight videos. He's going to be good in the air. He's going to be good at tackling. He's going to bring high energy. I still do think this will be, it is a jump up in leagues. So it won't be perfect all the time, but I just think that he's going to bring goals. Where he lacks, and he's not clicky, is where I don't think he's necessarily got the shot on him 30, 40, 50, or the song. I don't think he's going to be bringing those type of goals outside the box. A worldie. I don't think you'll see kind of that, but you'll see him smash balls into the box. And I think he's an underrated passer of the football. And then finally, most importantly, from an American perspective, as far as Weston McKennie goes, he is the second most touted player or recognizable player on the men's U.S. national team outside of Christian Pulisic. Yeah. I mean, obviously Tyler Adams' sky is rising. He's going to bring eyeballs into this club, just as more so, I think, than even Tyler and Brendan did. He's not the Christian Pulisic where we looked at the jersey sales of Christian Pulisic, and I think he was number 2 or number 1, something crazy like that for Chelsea. But it's going to bring more jersey sales. It's going to be more eyeballs. It's more the prime. Like, again, this game Saturday against Forest. I mean, we couldn't say that last year or 2, 3, or even obviously in the championship. It's going to be on the USA Network. It's the feature game here in America, and it's because of the players. It's because of the players. Jesse has a role to do it, but not a lot of people know who Jesse Marsh is. People know who Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson are, and Weston McKennie, because they don't really typically follow a lot of soccer / football proper. They follow the U.S. men's national team. So just in terms of commercial revenue, I think it's a great deal. And I think he's quality as well. So yeah. And personnel. So personality, quality, and money. That's why I think this will hopefully fit. So I'm very excited about it. And interested in both your guys' thoughts as well.
Michael.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I mentioned earlier, that we really lost not only just, I think, a very good player, but also a really good personality when Click left. I'm really happy to see McKennie coming in, into that midfield role, because I think he's an upgrade in terms of his skill level and even his experience with all the Champions League experience and everything that he has, and having played for a really top club, in Juventus, but also from a personality perspective. And I actually want to touch on that generally with the signings that we've made, but with him in particular, he comes across as such a nice, well-rounded, but also effervescent, like very bubbly personality. And I think he almost raises the good vibes in the room wherever he is. it certainly seems to be that kind of guy. And I think, that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing, I think.
It can break the tension.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
seems like he's that kind of guy. And, he's always,
They're playing
he's joking around a
game.
lot. Again, in a different way than Click. I mean, Click was always joking around a lot and cutting the tension as well by being a Click house.
Yeah.
But, it's a different way of doing it. But I think it brings a similar kind of element in the sense that it just sort of eases the tension, cuts through it, raises the spirits. So, I mean, even just from that sort of more intangible perspective, but from the football perspective, I think he's definitely an upgrade for our midfield. His versatility is something that really excites me about him. We've always, how much we love Stuart Dallas, not because he's an amazing footballer at everything he does, but because he can do everything to the required standard. You're going to get that with McKennie, but you're going to get it again at a higher level, which is he can do a lot of jobs. He can do them all very well. So I'm really happy with that signing.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it for lots of reasons. And the biggest ones, what you guys just said there. There's a lot of new players in that dressing room. You've probably got not cliques, because cliques is a bad example, but you've got groups of people who'll be more, more comfortable with each other, know each other longer. And you've got a lot of old guard and new guard people coming in. A personality like McKennie, who seems to have no issue mixing with everybody. And he describes himself as a social butterfly. His mother said that he can get along with anybody. So having that in there could be a catalyst to bring everybody together as well. So you could see a lot more camaraderie. And I said to my own team at the weekend, we're talking about the preseason stuff, and I'll say it about big teams as well. Teams that are together win things and do well.
Yeah.
Things that are fragmented don't. You've got to all be pushing the same direction and at least be respectful of each other. You don't have to get along with each other, but at least be respectful of each other and have that level of respect there that brings you on a step. So, yeah, look, I think McKennie's just it's an upgrade. I mean, you're going to get some of the stuff you got from Click, maybe not the goals, the kind of goals that Click scored, but you get more box runs as well, we've already said. Decent with his head as well. Like he doesn't score huge amounts of goals, but he's good in the air, and he's a solid player. 6'1", he's built well. Yeah. He's a strong player. He's not afraid of a tackle. He has that relationship with Tyler Adams already. And let's not forget, and I'm sorry to everybody from the UK or from England, the US centre midfield did a number on the English midfield in the World Cup. So there's two of them there who were very, very good. So it's not a bad thing for me to see coming in either. I like it.
Tyler and Weston both like when it gets physical. They kind of like, they enjoy it. They both enjoy trash talking. So it's just going to be fun to watch. I mean, I'm optimistic, and this is a massive game. He's going to be thrown into the fire here. This is a massive game at the weekend. Against Nottingham Forest in a hostile environment at the City Ground, what seems to be kind of looks like a difficult place to play for an opposing player. But, I don't know. I'm excited. Get out the popcorn.
Yeah, I think so. That's your marquee signing. We've been asking for about just under 2 decades for a marquee signing. Here's your marquee signing. As much as Ruder's record signing, all the deals come true from McKennie. Leeds have essentially broken their transfer record twice in one transfer window, which is saying something, really is saying something, and an absolute steal at the moment. What it looks like for Max Verber for 10 million looks like a bargain. Let's get the fly through the last one. Diego Monteiro, 1 million. We'll go into the 21 side. The clips floating around look pretty good. He signed a 3-year deal with Leeds, so not overcommitted on him either. Looks to be very much the younger version of a Liam Cooper or the younger or a Ben White. Likes to come out with the ball and likes that crossfield diag from what I've seen. Will definitely go into 21s. He's just turned 18. Leeds couldn't sign him early in the window because he was 17, and because of Brexit and the rules between the EU and the UK, you can't sign a minor, and he was technically a minor. They had to wait till he turned 18. He turned 18 on the 28th of January, and the Leeds went and got him for £1 million. It's a solid sign-in. We don't know a huge amount about him, but he will definitely go in and make the under 21 side a bit more solid. How do we feel about this one, lads? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm happy for it. Certainly, all this guy, I don't know anything about him other than what I've read from scouting since we were linked. So I don't want to come across like I know anything about him at all, because I really don't, other than what I've read. Certainly looks like it's a good signing. Like you said, we're not overcommitting. People seem to be saying that he's not that far off being first team ready despite his age. So he's got that kind of maturity already. That's great. I've seen the Ben White comparison be made several times. That's good. Good with the ball at his feet, able to bring it out of defense. So that's fantastic. Don't know anything about his personality. Has a lovely smile on the photo that you've chosen, so that's good. That's good. And that is one of the points I wanted to make about all the signings. Again, I can't add Montero to it because I don't know enough about him, but the quality of people that we've signed seems to be really high. They all seem like they're good characters. We're spending money on the right people and not on, I'm not going to say any names, but some of the players that we've been linked with in the past where there are some questions about their characters.
Yes.
And I'm happy that we haven't gone down that route and said, well, you're a prodigious talent, but you're also kind of a jackass. And I'm glad that we haven't gone that route.
Yeah.
Leeds United gets enough stick for being dirty Leeds or whatever. And we have referees that already look at us that way enough as it. We don't need that. We actually need guys of high quality character to stand up. And, I actually really enjoyed the way that we were under Bielsa when we did that kind of stuff. And when we were sort of upstanding character type players, and that was expected. I liked it. That's not to say I didn't like the click housing and stuff. That's fine. That's all good nature, whatever. That's fun. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind getting stuck in. I like seeing Willie Gnonto go toe to toe with people. I like the competitive edge. I like that stuff. But what we don't need is people causing controversy. And I'm really glad, with the whole Kiko Casilla thing, that we were able to move on. I think that was a stain on us at the time. Certainly a stain on the club for sort of how that was dealt with. I don't want to see that stuff happening. And so I'm really glad that the people that we brought in seem to be players of upstanding character, as well as being good players at the required standard on the pitch.
Yeah, I have to clarify one thing real quickly. I meant Liam Cooper's passing ability out from the back, because everyone is saying that Liam Cooper's got a wand of a left foot. His passing can be fantastic out from the back. That's what I meant. I like this to be. I think we're going to bully teams this year. I think we will pick up a lot of yellow cards. I think the nature of the frantic football that we're going to play will naturally drag people in and upset teams.
No issue with that.
I'm okay with that because it unsettles teams. It unsettles, but as long as it doesn't boil over and unsettle us, that's the key thing. You got to know where the line. We've got to control that. It needs to be nearly a rehearsed thing. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. He looks like a good kid. Looks of his head and his shoulders. And to the comments about the YouTube reels, yeah, I know it's a YouTube reel. But that's the only thing we have to go off from so far. And I'm just in commenting on his passing ability off the back. Looks pretty decent. Outside of everything else, we haven't commented on his defensive abilities. We don't know yet. Could be probably physical as well. Alex, what's your take on the kid coming in?
I honestly, I don't know too much about him. I'll just say that, we need to continue to strengthen the back line, both in the U21s and I'm thinking ahead to the next transfer window. I mean, we got to do some work on the back line. Alien's probably going to be gone. What do you do with Firpo? And obviously we still need probably an out left back. And then Cooper's probably, this might be Cooper's last stand. So the summer window, I think, has got to be defensively heavy in terms of our signings. Jir, thanks so much for letting me on the stream tonight. I got a jet.
No hassle, mate.
I will see you on the thread. Thank you, sir.
Talk to you soon, mate. No problem.
All right. Bye.
That's the wrong one. Michael.
Yeah.
The next thing to talk about, now that it's all done, the window's closed. It's been a good window. We've got more than we thought we'd get. We've got good players out on loan as well, so they're going to get better as well. Everything seems very positive about this. We've had our conversations about Jesse. We know where we're at with this. So my question to you is this, and I will frame this in this way. This manager has been backed more than any manager has been backed in the last, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
We've got Chris Armas, who does not look like me. And I'm going to stop wearing this tracksuit because someone just tweeted me that on a DM and said, you're a spitting image of Chris Armas. That's not good.
He's a lot shorter than you.
He's more, I'm a giant.
You can't tell that when you're sitting around, but he's a lot shorter than you are.
Big and small.
Yeah.
Mini me.
Mini.
Yeah, so I've been willing to give Jesse time. Just parts of Jesse's game I definitely see merit in. There's bits of his game I think are massively flawed, but I see why the club are going with him. He's been back more than anybody else. He's got the assistant manager that he wanted. He's got a really good coaching team in there now in place. You know, he's upgraded. Whatever about Chris Amos's ability as a manager, by the way, coaching and managing, they're just so different. They're big, big different things. But he's got what he wanted there, and he's been backed very heavily to the tune of over 80 million combined when all the fees are brought in together. In a January transfer window that Leeds don't normally spend any money in. He's got everything he asked for. Does this put more pressure on him even more pressure on now?
I think it probably does put more pressure on him because I think now he knows there's no more excuses. But at the same time, it also gives him the tools that he needs, I think, to be able to handle that pressure. So while you're having sort of the one thing ratcheting up, you're also having, I think, the ability to meet that and to be able to withstand that pressure. If he's not able to, then I don't think he's going to last much longer. I think, you know, the patience with the amount of money that we spent, I think the patience will run out pretty quickly if he's not able to turn it around. But as you said, there really is no reason why he shouldn't be able to at this point. I think we certainly at the front end have enough firepower to be at least competitive and to stay above, you know, the relegation zone, to stay at it. It's almost I know we're sort of in that fight right now. I would hope that we could sort of fire our way out of it. I have seen some, obviously every club is strengthening right now, including the ones that we're competing with down sort of at the wrong end of the table. But I feel like we have done probably more and better than they have for the most part. So now it's really just a matter of performing. But yeah, as far as Jesse is concerned, it's sort of win now or pack your bags time.
Yeah, and that comment from Stephen there, just wanted to bring it up. I know what you're getting at. I agree to a point. I know the comment you're referring to. What I will say is, I think some of the stuff about Jesse has always been taken out of context, sometimes deliberately. That comment, and I understand exactly where that comment is. I've asked my teams before, I don't want the result today, I want the performance, because you know, if you get the performance, you get the result.
That's it.
And with Jesse, what he's saying there is, if we continue to play the way we're playing, we will get more wins than defeats. We will do more good than bad, but we've got to be consistent with that, and it's hugely important. Performances are important because performances build consistency and style, and you know that all goes together. So, but yeah, I will say this, and I will double down on it. I, as somebody who's been patient with Jesse and been pretty positive about Leeds this year, I think he has to get results now. I don't think there's anywhere to hide. I don't think there's any excuses anymore. He's had a year next week, I think, week after next, in the job to get his ideas in. He's brought in better players. The club have spent a huge amount of money on him. Between the summer window and this, there's well over 100 million been spent, which is a massive amount of money in Leeds spending terms. We spent more now than we spent in the first season coming up. So, for me, Jesse has to now take these players, get a tune out of these players. And as has already been said, if he can't get a tune out of these players, then unfortunately, I work off a common denominator kind of system. If everything is saying it's there and it's not, who's the common denominator? If he can't get a tune out of these players, and he couldn't get a tune out of the last set of players, then unfortunately, Jesse becomes the common denominator and becomes the problem. So, hang on a second. I told you to stop giving me money. Gotta stop giving me money. Thanks, Robert.
It is appreciated.
I really appreciate it. It does a lot. You'd be surprised. I got engaged recently, and I will say that a lot of the stuff I got engaged last week.
Congratulations!
This actually helped. This helped. YouTube helped me, so thank you for that. So it does help. Yeah, mad week. Anyway, ended up in a paper. Ended up in a couple of papers in Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, my fiance's father is he's a guy called Ronan Collins. He's both a radio DJ in Ireland and a TV personality at one point. Yeah, so that got in the papers this week. Anyway, we're way off topic. Yeah, I think Jesse has to start delivering results now. I think he's got all the tools that are there that he wanted. You know, got to go out and get 3 points. Now, you could say every other team down there is pretty much strengthened. I think Everton, Bournemouth are the kind of the losers in the transfer window. Bournemouth have kind of strengthened, but not great. Southampton, the same kind of strengthened, but not a huge amount. And Everton brought in nobody today.
Yeah.
So Sean Dyche didn't get one, and they seem to be throwing money at absolutely everybody over the last 2 days, and haven't gotten anybody. So the squad should be better. There's better caliber players. I think arguably Leeds have actually signed better players than teams around us.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to get it. He's got to get it now. And it starts at Nottingham Forest, who have now got three full teams. They bought 24 players to yesterday. They got Felipe today, possibly if that's gone through. That's 24. And they bought think a goalkeeper, Navas from Real Madrid or from
Yeah,
PSG, 25 players. And there's one more in there somewhere. Oh yeah, John Joe Shelby is the other one.
Yeah, Shelby today.
Why? Just why?
I don't know what's going on there. It's
that was the one where I went, what?
Yeah.
Of all the players you've signed from around the world, you brought in a quality Brazilian centre midfielder, and you're gonna sit John Joe Shelby in front of him. There's something not right there. But you've got 25-ish players brought in the last 2 windows on top of the squad that got them promoted.
Yeah.
That's a tough dressing room to manage. Even the players that came in the summer to replace last year's team have now been replaced by Christmas. Yeah. So that's going to cause its own set of problems if it doesn't work, if it doesn't click. Cook has got big cojones if he thinks he's going to manage that dressing room that easily. So fair play to him. Do you think, Michael, looking at this and saying that Jesse needs to get results and looking at what's happened to win the wall up, do you think we're in a better position now going into the second half of the season than we are in the first half of the season?
I think we're definitely in a better position now in terms of the squad for sure. And we can go back to the last time we did this, and the big worry was, look, if we don't fill up these particular positions, left back we're still kind of not there. But I think we're covered at least better than we were with River coming in. So yeah, I mean, I think we are in a better position now. Like I said, I we have the firepower. Who no one sort of knew, a few months ago that Rodrigo was going to have as good a season as he has been having. Don't know how that continues necessarily, but Bamford certainly coming back now is helpful too, big time. And he says he's feeling great and he's looking great. So yeah, I think, with the signings we've made, with some of the players coming back, I think there's every opportunity for us to sort of turn it around and excel in the second half of the season. I would love to see us do that, but I also think that we certainly can do that.
6 wins, essentially.
Yeah.
The second half. And we're still a game shy of the halfway point. So we're 18 points, 1 game shy. If we beat Nottingham Forest, that puts us on the halfway mark on 21 points, which puts us 1 point over our bang on halfway, which means you're probably on course for 42 points maybe. But
we need to start getting results.
That's exactly, and it has to start quickly. It can't wait a month. It has to happen. Somebody asked, how long does Jesse have? I agree with everyone I've heard say about this. Adam Pope on Don't Go to Bed Just Yet. Phil Hayes Show and the lads in Square Ball have said the same thing, and I agree. Jesse Marsh is never more than 2 defeats away from the sack.
Yep.
Unless he starts getting back-to-back wins. If he can get 2 or 3 wins, I put you this way: if he beats Nottingham Forest and beats Scum, I think he's all right. I think
he's safe for the season at that point.
I think he's safe for the season then at that point, because that's a big chalk to get if he can beat Scum. He's got them twice in 5 days, so there's some big games coming up for him. It's not necessarily an easy run, but I think you've got, what is it? It's Nottingham Forest, Scum, and Everton, isn't it? I think the next 4 games.
Yeah.
2 of
They've
them
just lost Ericsson as well, which is a big loss for them.
That's huge, and it's a great one for us as well. Yeah, look, I think if you get 6 points out of the next 4 games, it's not bad. I think if you can get anything more than 6 points, it's even better. But I think good displays against Manchester United will help them a lot. But yeah, I think look, I think it has to work. It has to. Like, I think it's a better squad than last year. I think the player potential for the players to grow and get better as the season goes on is there. You're potentially looking at a bench at the weekend with Pat Bamford, Luis Sinisterra, Weston McKennie, Jorginho Rutter on the bench, Chris Somerville on the bench as well. Yeah. That's a good bench. That's a sign of depth, and that's a sign that you can now change the game and impact the game. Now Jesse's quest to get 5 substitutes approved now starts to look smart. It starts to look like a good deal, because if we can't change a game, he can bring players in immediately and change it. So yeah, look, I think see what goes, but we has to get a result against Forest, and by a result I mean a win.
Yep.
But then I'll probably be back here on Monday saying, yeah, great performance, 1 point, not bad. Yeah, okay, played well, but I'd like 3 points. I think we need to get at this stage. How do you think we're going to finish up, Nigel? Where do you think we're going to? Michael, sorry. Michael, where do you think we're going to finish up?
In the table?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we'll be safe. I think that there are at least 3 teams worse than us. I was kind of worried that we'd be hovering around the same way we did last season and kind of staying up by the skin of our teeth on the last day because somebody else makes a hero block on the line, but or whatever. But yeah, I think we'll do. I think we'll be okay. Somewhere 14th to 16th, probably realistically, given the way the table's shaping up right now. Maybe 17th again, but given that we have the firepower that we have now, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we're a long way from the team that was shared in the Twitter group earlier on with Jimmy Shackleton right back, Tyler Roberts playing 10,
Oh man,
Dan James playing in front. That team
yeah,
survived.
and children on the bench.
Children
on the bench that are now playing in like Scotland and in like League One, and
and that team survived. So
right, exactly. So like I said, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
We just need to plow on, and I do think that if Jesse doesn't, what you said, sort of no more than two matches away from being replaced, we'll know very quickly if it's going to work or not. And then there's still, like you said, we're just at the halfway mark basically, so there's still plenty of time.
Yeah, and to people that were saying that these are Jesse signings and that another manager, these are being brought on for Jesse. Good players can play under any manager, and these look like decent players. They adapt the system pretty easily. It's a 4-3-3. He's planning on anyway, or 4-2-3-1. They're all just different variations of the same system.
Yeah, all of these players, these are not all sort of wedded to that sort of RB system. I know, like Verber, for example, did come from that, but I mean, I think he's showing that he's got quality to play. However, the other players don't have any real connection to that. And they're quality players that have played at the highest levels and in totally different systems. I think we're fine. And players are not, they're not robots. They're not wedded to one system. They can be coached and they can be changed and they can learn new things, especially young ones. And most of these guys are pretty young.
Yeah, they are, and that's the great thing. The age demo that's coming in is all under 25 years of age. The potential. I mean, you can talk about the Leicester model, and the future sell-on of these players is good, and it is. That's right. Mm-hmm. I think the Leicester model's been binned. I think since the 49ers have made the move early to come in, I think that the Leicester model has been binned. They're not bringing players in to develop and sell them on in a couple of years' time. They're bringing players in to try and push on and win something in a couple of years' time. So, the reason this comment on the square on the screen is because my teams that I manage and I coach, I play with inverted wingers, which is probably why I can see some value in Jesse's systems. I don't play as narrow as Jesse. I start out wide and come in rather than being in already. But inverted wingers. So you play your winger on the opposite side than they normally play because you're not going to cross the ball. You're going to cut inside and look for passing lanes or shots. Yeah. That's the goal. The first manager that I saw do it really, really well, and I fell in love with the system, was Jose Mourinho when he took over at Chelsea. And he had Arjen Robben on one side and Damien Duff on the other side and Drogba through the middle, and it worked brilliantly. But it's not perfect. Yes, Robert, unfortunately, I'm slightly biased on that, but I do think it's still a bit narrow. But I'd like the wingers hugging the touch lines and as we break forward to make the runs inside then. Yep. But that's like we did against Crystal Palace, first half against Crystal Palace. That was my favourite Leeds performance for a period of time. Was the first half against Palace. That looked brilliant.
Which is different from what we did under Bielsa, which was all wide build-up. It wasn't just like hugging the touchline and cutting in. It was everybody on the touchline, pulling people across and then sending it over, right?
Yeah.
Stretching it out, moving defenders around. That's a different way of playing. None of the ways are more right than the other.
They call it when you're out of possession, you make the pitch small. So it's called low block now, but you tuck in as a group together. So it's the same, like say you've got 4-2-2, it's forward and 2. We bring them all and they tuck in, they drop deep, and then that whole block moves around the pitch together. So it goes right, the whole team. And that's why you can see that half pitch. Now, again, it's called half in the pitch. You come right away across and they cut that out.
In half length way.
Then when you win it, you're supposed to make it as big as you can. So you get wide, high. Wingers go high and wide. Your strikers push on. Strikers centre backs out away. And you create space for midfielders to play football. But with Jesse's, it's hunting a pack as a block, win it back, and then try and explosively go wide quickly. But because they're so high up the pitch, it's very hard to get that width that quickly. So, again, I'll call him out. If you haven't looked at it, I tweeted about it a couple of weeks ago. I'll try and find and tweet about it. Sorry, not a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago. There's a guy, it was a Leeds YouTube channel, and he did a breakdown on that picture we saw of the 4 players around one player against Brentford. And he put the context around the entire narrow playing system. It's an excellent video, and it's just very well explained as to what he's trying to do. Whether it works or not is a different question, but it's the explanation as to why we're doing it. Folks, we're getting on a bit, so we're going to let everyone go and thank everyone for popping by. We've pretty much had 500 in live consistently throughout the whole stream, so massive thanks to everyone that's decided to spend the last hour of the transfer window with us. You could have been watching Adam Pope and you decided to stick with us, so thank you very much for that. We really appreciate it. We'll sign off with this. Good window, good prospects, and it's over to Jesse. Michael, anything to say before we go?
No, that about sums it up. Over to you, Jesse Marsh. Let's go.
Jesse Marsh. Let's go. See you, folks. Bye.
Bye.